I'm actually going to, with your indulgence, because I don't think we're going to see archives before 12, perhaps we could deal with the public excluded before lunch. I don't think that will take too long, and then start again with the archives at 1 o'clock, and then HBRC following that. So, but anyway, let's go minor items on the agenda, and we had one which was coastal hazards. Councillor Bevan.
Thanks, Chair. There's just no formal feedback loop from the activities of the Coastal Hazards Committee, which is why I'm covering it. So the technical work, which is looking at where the coast will sit in 2065 and 2120, so looking 50 years hence and 100 years hence, that technical work has been completed now by Tonkin and Taylor, and the results of that were presented to a series of stakeholder meetings yesterday, which some councillors attended, the one for the Hastings Napier councils and HBRC councillors yesterday afternoon. So I'm really just reporting so that there's some formalised note in our minutes about what's going on. The method that was used for the modelling is called the probabilistic method. It's a comparatively new method that looks at a range of possibilities and assesses the percentage chance that they'll happen. So you don't end up with a line, if you like. You end up with a series of potential lines, if you like, or a data set that you can look at and assess, the probability of it happening. So that's what was presented yesterday, and if you look at the 66% chance of where the coastline will be in 2120, it's quite close to our current hazard line, which was perhaps comforting for some of the people who attended yesterday's meetings. So the report that Tonkin and Taylor have prepared was made available to the collaborators or the stakeholders, and comments invited on it by the middle of next month. And the Coastal Hazards Joint Committee will meet on the 27th to adopt that report and consider next steps. So the work that's been done this year basically is the modelling I just talked about, and we'll also look at what's going to be at risk from where the coastline might end up if we do nothing. Houses, for instance, infrastructure such as roads and amenities such as parks and reserves and so forth will be plotted and signalled to the Joint Committee. So the process for the next year, assuming that the Joint Committee continues its work, will be to engage with the public on what their appetite for risk is, how much they're prepared to spend in addressing the problems we face, and looking at the options that are available for us to, if you like, to have a more resilient community going forward. So they're the next steps that we'll look at doing for next year. Chair, so it's a very brief report. Half the people around the table actually did attend the meetings and will be aware of what was presented to them. And if anyone else is interested in getting a copy of that report, I think, Mike, you've got some spare copies, haven't you? So if any councillor is interested in having a look at it, you can grab a report from Mike.
Thank you.
Comment on that briefly?
Were you there?
No, am I allowed to comment on the report briefly?
Not normally, but...
No. Just in terms of discussing it... just discussing it privately about the lack of tangata whenua attendance. I think it would be good if the report can be flowed out to the various tangata whenua groups, because it's just, I know the reasons they probably didn't attend, and I won't go into them, but it's an essential part of the information that they need to receive.
No, well put. We'll deal with that. Well, I'm actually going to suggest now we move into...
Well, Mr. Chairman, what's happened with HBRC report?
Well, HBRC, we're a miscommunication. They're not ready till after lunch. They haven't got all their personnel.
It's a bit unfair on a media person who's been patiently waiting for a story of some sort.
And an issue outside of my control.
So will the public be able to come back and hear the HBRC report?
Absolutely.
At what time?
1 o'clock we will reconvene with, following lunch, with the archives report and then the HBRC report.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you for seeking clarification on that. So let's deal with the minutes and the item in committee. Is someone happy to move us into committee? You are Councillor Scott. Someone happy to second that? Thank you, Councillor Bevan. Both matters, yes. And I'll put that motion, and all those in favour, please say aye. Carried, and against carried. Thank you.